When was the last moment you truly gazed at yourself in the mirror and asked, "Am I genuinely living the life I desire?" Not the life others expect of you, not the one that seems acceptable in society's eyes, but the one that sincerely connects with your soul. Carl Jung, one of the most profound minds in modern psychology, left us with a lesson that few dare to embrace: the significance of choosing yourself, even when everything around you appears to push you in the opposite direction. We exist in a world carefully structured to divert our attention, to keep us locked in routines, societal expectations, and an endless cycle of obligations that seem inescapable. From the moment you wake up, you are bombarded with external demands: work, family duties, social pressures, all dictating how you should act, what you should pursue, and even what success is supposed to look like. But here is a reality that many refuse to confront. Every time you place others' needs above your own, you are sending a silent message to yourself that your own essence does not matter, that your desires, needs, and truths are secondary. You are disregarding that inner voice deep within your subconscious, the one persistently guiding you towards a more authentic and fulfilling existence. Jung believed that our connection to the unconscious is not optional. It is a crucial part of who we are. Yet, so many people suppress it, dismiss it, or outright ignore its signals simply because facing it can be unsettling. That sense of unease you feel when something in your life does not sit right, that is not random. That is your soul speaking to you, signaling that something must change, even if the mere thought of change frightens you. Pause for a moment and reflect. How many of the choices you have made recently have stemmed from true authenticity? And how many have been driven by fear? Fear of letting others down, fear of stepping away from the norm, fear of discomfort, or fear of abandoning the familiar. Jung urges us to deeply ponder this, as he understood a fundamental truth. Decisions that do not originate from your inner truth only lead to confusion and detachment. The further you stray from yourself, the more lost you become. But let's make one thing clear. Choosing yourself does not equate to rejecting others. This is not about selfishness or disregarding those around you. It is about recognizing that in order to present the best version of yourself to the world, you must first be at peace with yourself. This is the very foundation of self-love, a concept Jung explored in great depth. Self-love is not an indulgence, nor is it an excuse to run away from responsibilities. It is the bedrock upon which all genuine and meaningful relationships are built. When you start prioritizing yourself, a profound shift occurs in your energy. You begin attracting people and circumstances that resonate with your true self. It is as if the universe aligns with your decision to live in authenticity, clearing away what no longer benefits you and making space for what you genuinely need to evolve. But to reach this state, you must first confront your shadows, the aspects of yourself that you have avoided, repressed, or feared. Jung described the shadow as the hidden part of our psyche, containing everything we would rather not acknowledge. And while facing your shadow can be discomforting, it is in this confrontation that real transformation begins. When you integrate your shadows, when you stop battling against them and instead learn to accept them, you unlock an inner strength you never imagined existed. This process of integration does not occur overnight. It requires courage, patience, and an unyielding commitment to self-awareness. But what you gain in return is priceless. Clarity, the ability to see through illusions you once believed. Purpose, a newfound sense of direction and meaning in your life. Inner peace, a deep calm that no external chaos can disrupt. You gain the ability to say no to what does not align with you, without guilt, without fear, and without being weighed down by the judgment of others. But most importantly, you gain the freedom to be who you truly are. You may be wondering, how do I begin this journey? The answer is much simpler than you might expect. Start by listening to yourself. Each time you feel discomfort, hesitation, or a strong emotional reaction, pause and ask yourself, what is my subconscious trying to tell me? Because as Jung once said, the answers you seek externally already reside within you. You just need the courage to listen, and the determination to act accordingly. One of the hardest things we do in life is trust our intuition, especially when it leads us down a path that challenges everything we have built. Perhaps it is a relationship that no longer serves you, a job that drains your energy but feels impossible to leave, or a dream you have been chasing simply because it seemed like the right thing to do. Jung reminds us that ignoring these signals is not a sign of resilience. It is a denial of our own essence. To choose yourself is to possess the courage to release what no longer aligns with you. And that is not always easy. We cling to the familiar because change is intimidating. We convince ourselves that better the devil you know than the one you don't. But Jung challenges us to view change not as an end, but as an entryway, a passage to a more authentic version of ourselves. So ask yourself, what are you holding on to that no longer serves you? What relationships, beliefs, or habits are you maintaining out of fear? You may believe that letting go of certain people or situations equates to loss. But the real loss occurs when you sacrifice your inner peace just to maintain something that has already lost its meaning. The choice is always yours. And perhaps the most vital question you can ask yourself right now is, am I ready to truly choose myself? Choosing yourself is not an act of selfishness. It is an act of profound love and deep respect for who you truly are. For too long, society has conditioned us to believe that prioritizing ourselves is wrong, that placing our needs first is a betrayal of those around us. But the truth is quite the opposite. When you finally decide to choose yourself, something truly remarkable happens. It is as though a fog that had clouded your vision starts to lift, allowing you to see with clarity. The individuals who genuinely support you will remain, while those who merely drained your energy, those who never truly valued you, will start to fade away. And this is not a coincidence. It is the direct consequence of an internal transformation, an alignment between your inner world and your external reality. Jung referred to this as synchronicity, the mysterious yet undeniable link between your thoughts, emotions, and the events that unfold in your life. When you begin to live in alignment with your truth, your external world adjusts accordingly. However, this process demands something many struggle with: radical honesty with oneself. Choosing yourself is not solely about making bold choices or setting clear boundaries. Sometimes, it also means acknowledging uncomfortable truths about your past. Perhaps you have made choices that did not reflect your true self. Maybe you have allowed others to overstep your boundaries, sacrificing your well-being to keep the peace. You may have agreed to things you knew deep down you should have refused, simply out of fear of disappointing others. But here is the key: this is not a reason for self-judgment. Rather, it is an opportunity, an invitation to learn, to recalibrate, and to make a different choice moving forward. Jung believed that authenticity is not a final destination. It is an ongoing journey. It is a process of learning, growing, and evolving into the most genuine version of yourself. And along this path, you will face resistance. There will be times when you doubt yourself, when old habits tempt you to return to familiar patterns. But remember this: real growth does not happen in your comfort zone. The most profound transformations occur when you dare to step beyond the familiar and into the unknown. The world may not always understand your choice to put yourself first. Some will criticize you, some will question your decisions, and some may even drift away because you no longer fit their expectations. And yes, this can be painful. But when you choose yourself, you stop seeking external validation. You begin to understand that your worth is not defined by what others think. It is determined by what you believe about yourself. As you go through this journey, you come across something truly special: the realization that the right people will always stay by your side. Not because they need anything from you, but because they genuinely appreciate you just as you are. When you begin to live in a way that aligns with your true self, everything around you starts to change. This is not some form of illusion or a trick. It is the natural connection between your inner world and the outer reality. Carl Jung often spoke about how our minds project our internal state onto the world around us. If you experience inner conflict, you will notice external struggles reflecting that turmoil. If you fail to accept yourself, you will see rejection appearing in various aspects of your life. But if you choose to embrace yourself fully, if you decide to accept yourself completely, then the people and situations around you will begin to shift in response. This transformation does not occur instantly. It unfolds over time, just like any meaningful process. It requires patience and dedication. There will be days when it feels like you are moving backward, moments when old habits try to return. This is where your true strength is tested, your ability to remain committed to yourself, even when it feels uncertain, even when it feels isolating. Society often praises sacrifice, but at what expense? Not everyone will be happy with your choice to prioritize your well-being. We live in a world that often celebrates selflessness to the point of exhaustion, where giving everything away, even at the cost of your own happiness, is considered admirable. But what happens when we try to pour from an empty vessel? What happens when we give so much that we end up losing ourselves in the process? Choosing yourself is not selfish. It is essential. Because only when you are whole, when you are in alignment with your true self, can you genuinely offer love and support to others without depleting yourself. So make the bold choice to prioritize yourself, not just once, but every single day. Not only in the grand moments, but also in the smallest of choices. And watch as your life begins to shift in unimaginable ways. Jung taught something incredibly significant. You cannot offer what you do not have. If you sacrifice your joy, energy, or peace of mind in an effort to please others, then what you are giving is not truly authentic. Eventually, that imbalance will make itself known, whether through burnout, dissatisfaction, or an empty feeling inside. Take a moment to reflect on your current relationships. How many of them uplift you, inspire you, and bring you peace? And how many leave you feeling drained, uncertain, or emotionally exhausted? Jung encouraged us to reflect on this because relationships are not just social connections. They are reflections of our inner world. The people we keep close mirror our beliefs, values, and emotional tendencies. If you find yourself tolerating repeated boundary violations, it does not necessarily mean the other person is entirely at fault. Rather, it may be a sign that you still need to learn how to protect yourself. Establishing boundaries is not about shutting people out. It is an act of self-care and self-respect. Jung believed that our unconscious mind is always guiding us toward our well-being, but too often, we ignore its messages. That feeling of exhaustion after interacting with certain people is not a coincidence. It is your unconscious telling you that this relationship is not aligned with your true nature. If you continue to disregard these inner signals, the cost will always be your peace of mind. Choosing yourself means creating boundaries, not as barriers, but as pathways toward healthier and more meaningful connections. Every time you say no to something that does not serve you, you are saying yes to your own truth, dreams, and well-being. This does not mean cutting ties with everyone, but being honest with yourself about which relationships truly nurture you and which ones leave you feeling depleted. As you begin to live from this space of authenticity, something remarkable happens. Your intuition grows stronger. That inner voice, which once seemed faint or uncertain, starts guiding you with greater clarity. You begin making decisions that not only make logical sense, but also feel deeply right. This is the power of choosing yourself. It reconnects you with your intuition, with that inner compass that has always been present, waiting for you to trust it. Jung described intuition as one of the purest forms of communication with the unconscious mind. It is that deep, unexplainable knowing, that feeling in your gut when something feels either right or wrong. But in order to truly hear it, you must quiet the external noise. This means letting go of the constant need for validation, detaching from societal pressures, and trusting yourself completely. Because, ultimately, no one else can determine what is best for you. When you choose to prioritize yourself, you are sending a powerful signal to the universe. I am ready to live in alignment with my truth. And the universe responds. Suddenly, you begin to attract people, opportunities, and experiences that align with your authentic self. This does not mean that life will be without challenges, but those challenges will no longer feel like endless battles. Instead, they will become opportunities for growth, transformation, and self-discovery. By choosing authenticity, you also start to experience something Jung referred to as synchronicity, those seemingly random, yet perfectly timed events that unfold in your life. These are not mere coincidences. They are a direct reflection of your inner alignment. When you are in harmony with yourself, the world outside starts to align as well. Doors begin to open effortlessly, the right people enter your life at the perfect moment, and everything starts to flow in ways that once seemed impossible. This is the beauty of embracing your true self. When you honor your inner world, the external world responds in kind. In that space of deep alignment, you will not only discover a greater sense of fulfillment, but also a profound inner peace, the kind that comes from knowing you are exactly where you are meant to be. When you decide to live in truth, the universe appears to work in your favor. The right opportunities present themselves naturally, the right people arrive at the ideal time, and everything seems to unfold with ease. It is as though the very fabric of existence adjusts to match your newfound sense of purpose. What once felt unattainable now becomes possible. However, this does not mean the path will be free of difficulties. In fact, some of the greatest challenges arise precisely when you decide to choose yourself. The world, so accustomed to the version of you that sought to please everyone else, may resist your transformation. You may feel external pressures trying to pull you back into old habits. Doubts may creep in, fears may rise to the surface, and the temptation to return to the familiar may be overwhelming. This is where your true power lies. Each time you reaffirm your choice, each time you place your inner peace above external expectations, you strengthen your connection with your true self. The key is to remain steadfast, even in the face of uncertainty. It is entirely natural to feel afraid when leaving behind the familiar, even if you know it no longer serves you. But remember this: every time you choose to remain in a place that no longer brings you joy, you close the door to something that could deeply transform you. Jung taught that change does not come without resistance, but resistance is not a sign that you are making a mistake. Rather, it is proof that you are evolving. It is the tension between who you were and who you are becoming. One of the most effective ways to navigate this resistance is through self-reflection. Ask yourself, what do I truly value? What matters most to me? What kind of life do I want to create? Gaining clarity about your values and goals makes it easier to make choices that align with them, and as you do, you begin to attract people and experiences that match that energy. The world around you will shift in response to your inner alignment. And remember, you are not alone in this journey. While choosing yourself may feel like a solitary act at first, in reality, it leads you toward a path where the right people naturally gather around you. People who support, uplift, and walk beside you. They will not demand that you change to fit their lives. They will accept you as you are because they, too, have chosen to live in alignment with their truth. When you reach this point, something inside you changes forever. Life no longer feels like an uphill battle. Decisions that once seemed overwhelming become clearer and easier. And most importantly, you discover a peace that is no longer dependent on external factors, because you have chosen to honor yourself.